So Julian, can you tell me about your experience of filming in India?
Well, it was one of my favourite shoots ever. The idea of the programme was to go and find a king cobra and do an experiment on it, which didn't harm the king cobra, which was to see if it responded to airborne sound. One of the ideas behind the programme was investigating a myth called the cobra's revenge. And this myth was that if a cobra is killed, in India they believe, another cobra comes and seeks revenge. And one theory behind this myth is that the cobra could hear the cobra that was killed's squeals of pain, if you like, or hisses of pain, and would come and seek revenge or try and rescue it. And so we investigated that. First we had to find a king cobra, which we did, and then do some experiments with airborne squeals, some very loud sounds, to see if the cobra responded. And it was a fascinating programme to work on.
Did you have to travel far to gather your material for this project?
Yeah, we had to film basically both sides of the Indian continent. So we filmed in the Western Ghats, on the west coast, which was where we found two king cobras, one of which died unfortunately. We actually filmed a snake funeral. Snakes are so venerated, or cobras are so venerated in India, they actually hold funerals in certain circumstances, and we filmed on the funerals. And the snake we found that survived is one we did the sound experiment on, which didn't actually show that the snake could hear airborne sounds, but it did show how intelligent the snake was, because the snake seemed to remember the presenter, Mark O'Shea, capturing it the day before. It came and found him outside the compound and stared at him, eyeballed him for minutes on end. It was a fascinating moment. And that's my favourite part of the shoot, really. We also filmed the eastern side of the continent, which was the Orissa state and the swamps of Bhubaneswar, where we didn't actually find any king cobras, but we found some very interesting other reptiles during the filming over there. So there's some of the content from that part of the shoot made the final programme, but the best bit, I would say, was finding the king cobras in the Western Ghats near Bangalore.
How difficult was it to film in the swampy area?
It was very difficult filming all over India. First of all, getting permission to film is always a challenge, because there's lots of bureaucracy and permits you need to get, and different levels of bureaucracy. So you need to get the national government to agree to your filming, and the local governments and the local reserve governments. So it's very, very difficult to film on a bureaucratic level, but then also it's very difficult because sometimes things don't go to plan in India, and that can lead to things being difficult in terms of kit arriving, in terms of when we had to fly from Bangalore to Mangalore, for example, we had to take half our kit off the plane because we had too much kit for the plane to cope with. So it's always a challenge filming in India, but it's always really interesting too.
Were you happy with the material you got on this trip?
Very, very pleased. It's one of the programmes I'm most proud of, because at the end of the day we found some amazing creatures. There's real dramatic tension. Will we find the snake? Won't we find the snake? When we did find the king cobra, the experiment we did was fascinating in that the cobra didn't appear to hear airborne sounds, but it seemed to recognise the presenter, and he said afterwards, that's the most intelligent snake I've ever come across.
Thank you for your time.